I am Rebecca Lukens. You are probably seeing this video because I am your travel agent helping you plan your Disney World vacation. If you do not yet have a travel agent for your Disney World vacation and you'd like someone to help you completely free, check out below to see how I could help you. Today, we are talking about lightning lanes, a super confusing and super important part of your Disney World vacation. Let's get into it. All right, so first things first, what is a lightning lane? Well, at Disney World, at pretty much the entrance to every single ride, there are actually two lines to enter the attraction. There's the standby queue, and then there's the lightning lane. Back in the day, these used to be called fast passes. Essentially, it's a way to wait in a much shorter line at Disney World. And so instead of waiting the posted time of maybe an hour, you might wait 5 to 10 minutes to ride the attraction. The only way to get into a lightning lane line is to have purchased or selected a lightning lane pass for that attraction. All right, there are three different types of lightning lane passes that you can buy. There is a lightning lane multi-pass, there is a lightning lane single pass, and there is a lightning lane premier pass. Let's get into the differences. First up, Lightning Lane Multipass. Multipass is by far the most popular and most confusing Lightning Lane pass that there is. The Lightning Lane Multipass allows you to purchase and pre-select entrance into 3 specific attractions in a park before you arrive for your vacation in Disney World. And then it allows you to select additional return times for additional attractions, assuming availability on the day of your park day. So this means that before you enter the Disney World park, either 7 days or 3 days before your vacation, depending on where you're staying, you will choose specific return times for 3 different attractions in the park that you're going to that day. And then after you scan into your first ride of the day, you are able to choose a 4th attraction. And when you scan into your second ride of the day, you're able to scan your 5th attraction, and so on and so on. The rides are broken into tiers for this pass, and you're only allowed to pre-select one tier 1 ride for each park day, which means you're not able to use your 3 pre-selections for the 3 most popular rides in that park. You're only allowed to choose one of the most popular rides, and then the other have to be some lesser popular rides, and there is a specific list of rides that count for that one selection. Multipass ranges in price based on the park that you're going to and the dates that you're going, but it ranges from about $15 to $40 per person per day. The highest, most expensive park is going to be Magic Kingdom during holidays. So if you're going the week of Thanksgiving or the week of Christmas, you can expect $40 per person per day. And the lowest end is going to be Animal Kingdom for the non-peak times. So August, September, maybe January, that will be Animal Kingdom at about $15 per person per day. If you have a child that does not need a ticket because they are under 3, they also do not need lightning lanes, but they can still ride with you in the lightning lane. So let's say you have a 2-year-old and you want to take them on Toy Story Mania in Hollywood Studios and you have a lightning lane for Toy Story Mania, the 2-year-old can go with you in the lightning lane line without needing a lightning lane pass, even though they don't have a ticket. A couple things to note about MultiPass is that your selections for rides are time-bound. And so when you go to select your Lightning Lane MultiPass selections, you'll see a 1-hour window. So you might, if you're doing like Hollywood Studios, you might see you get a return time for Tower of Terror between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. You might get a return time for Toy Story Mania between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m., et cetera, et cetera. And then you have to ride the ride between those within that window. It can make planning your park day a little bit more chaotic because you might have to sort of pop around the park instead of just doing like a simple circle, depending on the return times that you get. But if you play your cards right, you can sometimes get 5, 6, 7, depending on when you're going and how busy the park is, even 8 or 9 different rides in one day using the MultiPass. And good news for park hoppers, while you have to pre-select all 3 of your pre-selections in the same park, after you scan into your first ride, you're able to select lightning lanes in any parks. All right, next up is Lightning Lane Single Pass. This is probably the easiest one to understand. This is when you purchase one single entrance into one lightning lane at one attraction for one specific time. These are the most popular rides in each park, and these rides are not included with MultiPass. So if you want to skip the line for these rides, you'll see them here, you must purchase a single pass. This means that, for example, if you're going to Magic Kingdom and you want to ride Tron and you don't want to wait in the queue, you will buy a single pass and you'll be given a specific return window, like 2 to 3 p.m. And then anyone who has a single pass can ride that ride during that time. Again, these rides are not included with multi-pass, so if you want to ride any of those rides, in the Lightning Lane, you will not be able to select them with multi-pass. And after you ride your ride, you don't get any additional selections. This is just one ride, one price, one time. And last up is the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. The Lightning Lane Premier Pass is the most expensive by a lot because it provides the most flexibility for your trip. The Lightning Lane Premier Pass allows you one entrance into every Lightning Lane line in the park one time in one day. So for example, if you purchase Premier Pass for Magic Kingdom, you will get access to the Lightning Lane anytime you want for every single ride one time. You can go into the park and just mosey around in whatever order you want, and every time you come to a ride, you enter the Lightning Lane pass. Now you can only enter the Lightning Lane queue for each ride one time, so you can't ride the same ride over and over or even 2 times in the same day. And unfortunately for park hoppers right now, this is only gets you access to the lines in one park for that day. So if you have a park hopper, you purchase Premier Pass and you use it in the morning, and then you decide to go to Epcot, your Premier Pass benefits will not move over with you to Epcot. They will only allow you entrance to each ride one time in Magic Kingdom, assuming that the rides are operating and available. Now, because of this, the price tag is really high, and I've got some of the average prices right here. Magic Kingdom, again, is going to be the most expensive, then Hollywood Studios, then Epcot, and finally, Animal Kingdom. In my personal opinion, Premier Pass is more than worth it for Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. Epcot and Animal Kingdom, I'm not sure. It depends on the crowd levels. But yeah, that is Lightning Lane Premier Pass. Next up, when do you purchase your Lightning Lanes? Now, if you are a regular at Disneyland, you might be used to adding Lightning Lane Multipass to your tickets when you purchase your vacation. Unfortunately, that is not an option at Disney World. There are 2 different times that you might be able to book your Lightning Lane passes. First, if you are staying at a Disney resort. If you are staying at a Disney resort or the Swan and Dolphin Hotel or Shades of Green Military Resort, you are allowed to book your Lightning Lanes beginning 7 days before check-in at 7 a.m. Eastern for your entire trip. So if I am checking in on June 18th, then on June 11th, I am able to purchase Lightning Lanes for every single day of my trip, so long as I'm staying at a Disney resort, Swan and Dolphin Hotel, or Shades of Green. However, if I am not staying at a Disney resort, I am able to purchase passes up to 3 days before the first day of my ticket for the length of my ticket. So, for example, if I am checking into a Hilton on June 18th and I have a ticket that starts on June 19th and it's a 3-day ticket, I can start making my Lightning Lane purchases on June 16th. For June 19th, and then 2 other days that are included with my ticket days. And for annual pass holders, you will fall into the second category where you can make Lightning Lane purchases 3 days before your park reservation, assuming you are not staying at a Disney World resort during your stay. Let's get into it and how to actually purchase Lightning Lanes. So you're going to open the My Disney Experience app. You're going to make sure you're logged in. You're going to make sure your resort reservation confirmation is connected, and so that it knows you're staying at a Disney resort. And then at exactly 59 a.m. Eastern time, but it'll become available at exactly 7 a.m. Under Lightning Lane Multipass or Single Pass, you're going to click Purchase. After you click Purchase, you'll be taken to a calendar, and you're going to select the first day that you want to purchase Lightning Lanes for. You're going to purchase the park, you're going to select the park that you want to purchase, and then you're going to choose if you want Lightning Lane Multipass or Lightning Lane Single Passes. You're going to select all the members of your party, and then if you've selected Multipass, after you click Continue, you'll see a list of available attractions. They'll be separated into Tier 1 and Tier 2, like you can see. You'll get to choose 3 rides, only one of which will be in the Tier 1. And the app will automatically select times for you, and it'll show any other reservations you already have for that day, like dining reservations. But you can select the Modify Time button right underneath and choose a different time if there are others available if you would like. After you've made sure that all your Lightning Lane return times are to your preferences, you select Continue and then Check Out. You'll pay for your Lightning Lanes for that specific day, and then you'll see the option to purchase for another day. You'll continue all of these steps again until all of your park days that you'd like to purchase Lightning Lanes for are done. So, how do you actually use MultiPass when you're in the park and you have scanned into your first ride and you're trying to select more rides? Great question. I would love to show you. So, let's say, remember, you've pre-selected 3 rides for your park day. So, let's say your first ride of the day was Pirates of the Caribbean at 9 a.m. in Magic Kingdom. You have just scanned into Pirates of the Caribbean. You're literally still waiting in the Lightning Lane line. This is what your app is going to look like. You're going to see here that you have a select option on the tip board, and you'll have a little a lightning lane sort of box there that'll come up to the top that'll ask if you want to select more. When you click this, it will say it's loading your tip board, and then this is what you'll see. A list of rides that are available to be selected on MultiPass with their next available return time. And you can modify your times if you get a time that you don't like or you need to make any changes. You can go to view my day, which you can do from here, or your My Disney Experience home screen, and you can click into the specific lightning lane that you want to change and click modify. It will show you if there are any other times available, and you can keep pulling down and refreshing to see if anything pops up because people cancel all the time. Now, what will it look like when a ride sells out? Boom, right there. See how Frozen says currently unavailable? That means that all lightning lanes for the day are gone. It doesn't mean that one can't pop up. It's just going to be extremely rare and hard to get. This is very common for the hardest to score rides, and that's why having a really early return time is really critical because it allows you to select into some of those more popular rides that will sell out during the day. So if there's a ride that you would really like a lightning lane for that says that it's currently unavailable, you can essentially just stay on your phone and keep refreshing, refreshing, refreshing to see if anything pops up. And that is how to use Lightning Lane Multipass. Now that you can see why Lightning Lane Premier Pass has such a level of flexibility because it allows you to not be on your phone at all. You don't have to mess with return times or availability. You literally can just get into the Lightning Lanes whenever you like on the day that you've purchased it for. All right, and here are my top tips for Lightning Lane Multipass. Make sure you get at least one early morning return time. Now, if you have lightning lanes for 3 rides and you really want to ride all 3 of those rides, but they're not until 6, 7, or 8 p.m., you can't make a fourth lightning lane selection until 6 p.m. That means that the value of the amount that you paid for your lightning lane really decreases because you're pretty much guaranteeing you're only going to get 3 or 4 selections out of your lightning lane multi-pass purchase. However, if you have a ride that is maybe not like the first thing on your list, but it is something that you're still interested in, and you get a return time for 9 a.m., you can select a fourth return time as soon as you scan into that ride at 9 a.m., which allows you to increase the number of selections that you'll get for the day overall, and therefore increase the value of the Lightning Lane Pass that you have. You do not have to go with the times that Disney selects for you. As I already showed you, when you select your attractions, Disney will slate you into times, but you can modify them. You can move them earlier if they're available, and they can overlap so that you can get into those rides as quickly as you can in the morning so that you can just have more and more and more selections throughout the day. The earlier you get into those first rides, the more selections you're going to end up with overall. Know which rides sell out first. I use Thrill Data. You can see it here. It is a great way to check out what time lightning lanes sell out for each ride. And so, for example, if you're super interested in a ride, but the lightning lane doesn't usually sell out until 5 or 6 p.m., you know you're going to be able to select that on day of. But some of the lightning lanes sell out at 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. And so if that's the case, you want to make sure that ride is in your pre-selection list if you would really like to have a lightning lane for it, because otherwise it might be unavailable by the time that you get to select it on your park day. Have a game plan. So you want about a couple days before your lightning lanes window opens up, you want to sit down, have a plan, make a list of which rides that you want to have in each park. Make your top 3 selections with 1 to 2 backups. Make sure you know which tiers go with which park and which rides so that you don't get stuck trying to get all of your selections from the first tier. This will just help you have a smooth lightning lane purchasing experience, and it'll make sure that you're able to get the most out of your money by being really strategic. All right, and here are the top Lightning Lane FAQs. Number 1, can you use Single Pass and Multi-Pass or Premier Pass on the same day? Yeah, you can. So you can have up to 3 multi-pass selections and you can have up to 2 single pass selections all at once before you arrive for the same park. So in Magic Kingdom right now, as of this video, Tron and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train are single pass Lightning Lane rides. That means they are not available with multi-pass, but I could purchase multi-pass for Magic Kingdom on a particular day, make 3 ride selections for Magic Kingdom, and purchase a Tron and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train single pass for that day. And so I will have actually 5 pre-selections for those rides, and I'll make a 6th one when I scan into my first selection for multi-pass on a day. You can also hold Premier Pass on top of all of this. So if you just wanted to have like a crazy Lightning Lane day and say you wanted to try to ride every ride twice only in the Lightning Lane, you could have Premier Pass and Multi-Pass and Single Pass. Or say you know you want to ride Tron twice and you bought the Premier Pass, you can also purchase the Single Pass so that you can have two Lightning Lanes for Tron. There's no real limit to the number of passes that you can have. You can just only have one of each. So you can't purchase two Premier Passes for one person for the same day or two multi-passes so that you get double the rides or anything like that. All right, next question. Does the Premier Pass get me access to single pass rides? Yes. So, in Magic Kingdom, to keep this example rolling, Tron and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train are both not available with the multi-pass. They are only available with the single pass in terms of those purchases. However, if you purchase Premier Pass, you do get access to both of them. Only once, but you do get access to them. All right, next question. What happens if a ride goes down during my Lightning Lane return window? You will be given something called a multi-experience pass. Depending on what ride you're given a multi-experience pass for, that will determine what rides you can use it for, but there's a lot more flexibility here and you can use it anytime. So let's say I had a Lightning Lane for Space Mountain at 1 p.m. and Space Mountain goes down at 12:50 p.m. and it's closed. Now at 1 p.m., I'm going to be given in my excuse me, in my Disney Experience app, I'm going to be given a multi-experience pass. When I click into that, it will show me what rides I'm able to access with that multi-experience pass, and I can access any of them immediately. I can also immediately make another selection. So it will be as if I scanned into Space Mountain and I can make another selection on my multi-pass. However, there are two sort of strategies you can take here. One is if you really, really want to ride Space Mountain and it's been a 90-minute wait all day, you're going to want to save that multi-experience pass and see if Space Mountain comes back up, because it usually does. You will not be able to select Space Mountain again. You already selected Space Mountain, so even though you haven't been able to ride it yet, you will not be able to select it again within your multi-pass. And so you want to save that multi-experience pass for when Space Mountain comes back up. And whenever it comes back up, you can head straight there and ride it any time of the night. The other option is you can use it for any other ride that's listed. So for example, let's say I had a Tiana's Bayou Adventure Lightning Lane and the ride went down, and so I was given an experience pass, and Space Mountain is just my favorite ride in the whole world, but I already used my Lightning Lane for Space Mountain today. I can use that multi-experience pass to ride Space Mountain through the Lightning Lane a second time. It just means that I'm not going to be able to ride Tiana's Bayou Adventure through the Lightning Lane at all today, because I already selected it, and then I used the multi-experience pass that I got from it on a different ride. So there's a couple strategies here, but all in all, if the ride goes down, see it as a great way to have a little extra flexibility in your day with the way that you can use that Lightning Lane. All right, can you book a ride more than once in the same day? We've been over this, but no, not with only one pass. Now, if you hold a single pass and a Premier Pass, or a multi-pass and a Premier Pass, then yes. But if you have just a Premier Pass, just a single pass, or just a multi-pass, you cannot purchase multiple passes of the same type in the same day, and you cannot select the same ride more than once with your multi-pass. How does it work if I have a park hopper? So if you have a park hopper ticket, that means that you can go to multiple parks in one day. All of your pre-selections have to be in the same park, and I suggest having them in the first park of the day. So let's say I'm going to be in Magic Kingdom in the morning, Hollywood Studios in the afternoon. I'm going to make all three of my pre-selections for Magic Kingdom morning time rides, and then as soon as I scan into my first ride of the day, in my Disney Experience app, I can switch over to Hollywood Studios and start making my selections over there too, or anywhere else for that matter. Is there a limit to how many Lightning Lane single passes I can hold for a day? Yes, you can only hold two. So, even if you have a park hopper and you're planning to go to all four parks in one day, you can't purchase a single pass for every single pass ride in all four parks, because that would be 7 or 8 different rides. You can only hold two for a day, not two per park. So, if you're planning to hop around, make sure you're really strategic with which rides you purchase your single pass for. And finally, can I hold two Tier 1 Lightning Lane passes after I have scanned in on my first day? Yes. So this is a great strategy. Let's say that I'm in Magic Kingdom and the Tier 1 rides are Tiana's Bayou Adventure, Space Mountain. Those are the two that I'm really interested in. I already have a selection for Tiana's Bayou Adventure later. Well, my first ride of the day was Winnie the Pooh. I scan in at 9 a.m. and I select Space Mountain now. So now I've got two Tier 1 rides, Space Mountain and Tiana's Bayou Adventure, in my lineup for the day, and everything is open. For the rest of the day, I can select anything that I want. Now, this will not work if you do not scan into that first ride. You cannot get into the park and just cancel that first ride and select a new one. You have to physically scan into it, which is why it can be really important to get the earliest return time possible for one of your rides so that all of the other tiers open up for you for the rest of the day.
In a world of silken stars I roam, whispers of the twilight skies unknown. Moonlight dances, dreams unfold, mystic songs in liquid gold.